Medical and pharmaceutical manufacturers are rapidly integrating automation, artificial intelligence, and SaaS, applications hosted in the cloud, directly into their production lines. However, these facility upgrades frequently stall. The friction comes from legacy CSV, or computer software validation, the traditional methodology used to test and document that software meets specific engineering requirements. The legacy approach demands identical, exhaustive, documentation-heavy testing for every new software system, regardless of its actual risk to the manufacturing process. By forcing engineers to generate massive validation packages for low-risk applications, this requirement makes deploying new manufacturing tools prohibitively expensive and slow. When compliance documentation takes precedence over critical thinking, keeping an outdated system running becomes a safer business decision than upgrading to a better one. To resolve this, the FDA issued its 2026 update, Computer Software Assurance for Production and Quality System Software. This document legally harmonizes software testing with the QMSR, the Quality Management System Regulation, and ISO 13485-2016, the International Consensus Standard for Medical Device Quality. Computer Software Assurance, or CSA, marks a major transition away from checklist-driven validation toward a critical thinking, risk-based framework. Under this guidance, the compliance burden scales directly with the software's actual impact on product quality and patient safety. Navigating this transition requires mastering the FDA's new four-step deductive framework. The engine begins by identifying intended use. Software is directly used if it automates production or maintains official quality system records. It is support used if it runs tests or manages general records. Basic IT and business apps are completely out of scope. Precisely defining how the software interacts with the manufacturing floor is a mandatory prerequisite to any risk analysis. At the process risk node, a feature is high risk if failure compromises patient safety. An ERP restocking material with mandatory human verification neutralizes safety risk, making it not high risk. Without that human safety net, wrong materials enter production, elevating it to high risk. Process risk evaluates the entire manufacturing operation's vulnerability to a specific software failure. This dictates the required rigor of your testing. Next is scaling assurance activities. The high process risk path requires robust scripted testing, executing step-by-step test cases, logging actual results, and maintaining strict traceability. Conversely, on the not high process risk path, the FDA explicitly authorizes leaner, unscripted testing. This includes scenario testing, checking ad hoc interactions. There is error guessing, targeting known failure modes, and exploratory testing, hunting for edge cases without predefined scripts. Manufacturers can leverage existing upstream controls to reduce their internal testing workload. Reviewing a cloud vendor's SOC reports, service organization controls that verify external data and security practices can provide sufficient baseline assurance for lower risk tools. Scaling assurance concentrates rigorous testing resources exclusively on the variables that dictate patient safety. This comparative table illustrates documentation differences. Establishing the record proves the assurance state to an auditor. Even for unscripted testing, a valid CSA record requires 6 minimum elements: intended use, risk analysis, testing description, issues found, a conclusion, and proper approvals. Historically, the industry believed that compliance with 21 CFR Part 11 demanded exhaustive paper-equivalent documentation and manual screenshots for every tested software feature. The updated guidance clarifies this by recommending that manufacturers capture natively generated digital logs, system audit trails, and built-in tracking as objective evidence. Abandoning the manual screenshot burden allows quality teams to fulfill regulatory obligations with less administrative friction. The CSA framework operates as a high-speed triage engine. Take an AI/BI tool trending QMS data without automated production authority. Running through the engine, it's categorized as support use, flagged not high risk, assigned exploratory testing, and cleared using internal digital logs. Even complex software can be validated and deployed rapidly if the associated safety risk is low. The 2026 update reallocates engineering talent from paperwork towards software quality assurance. This deductive logic applies universally, whether integrating a new SaaS platform, migrating records to cloud storage, or updating a manufacturing execution system. By authorizing unscripted testing and digital logs, the FDA has addressed the documentation barriers that previously stalled facility upgrades. Internal operational inertia is the primary barrier to adopting modern manufacturing technology, as the FDA has already cleared the regulatory path. Embracing computer software assurance is a strategic imperative for any medical manufacturer seeking to maintain high quality and a competitive edge.